why we're here. And so that's what we're going to get started off with. And I want to thank Pastor Moffitt right over there. He's done a ton of work for us to be here tonight. And you know, we had this thing scheduled because you got to schedule it about 4 months in advance. And so we've had to push it back, which I'm not mad about at all. Push it back quite a bit. And finding time in the auditorium right now is really tough with the concerts and everything going on. So I really appreciate him opening the doors up to Cordell Community Church and allowing us to be here tonight. But with that being said, let's go and get started because there's a lot of people to thank and talk about. So first, I want to thank our coaching staff. I'm going to have these guys stand up and kind of wave in the back. Our defensive staff, led by our defense coordinator, Jose Aguirre. Coach Jason Moffitt, Coach Austin Cole, Coach Joshua Hubick, Coach Jason Allman, and Coach Chase Smith. That's our defensive staff. Offensive staff-wise, we got Coach Jacob Hunter, offensive coordinator. Ron Dillon, Coach Rodney Thornton, Coach John Woods, Justin Brumfield, Coach Greg Keaton. He's works with both our junior high and high school staffs. And then we were lucky this year, very fortunate to have Coach Chase Cole coach our kickers. It's our offensive staff, our junior high staff, Thomas Winkler, Jim Hitchcock, Coach Robert Clater, Danny Bird, Carl Sims, Alex Fulton. So if you would, please give those people a big round of applause. They do a ton of work with our kids. And we are very blessed to have really, really good coaches, not only on the field, but off the field. And we take a lot of pride in coaching your son off the field as well. Our staff right now is a very, very close-knit staff, and we work really well together and hold kids accountable, but also develop relationships. And you know, the mission of Gatesville Hornet football is to win a lot of games, but you know, since I've been here, and one of our driving forces is, you know, win in high school, but we also want to win when they're 30 years old. And our coaching staff pushes that mission, and they do a great job doing that. So really appreciate those guys and what they do and the time they put in. But we would not be who we were without our families and mainly our wives. My wife right now is watching Hornet Radio at home, and we would not be able to do what we do without them. And so there's a few wives here right now. And our kids and the sacrifices that they make, because this profession, you know what it is when you get into it, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time, and there's not a successful coach that doesn't have the backing of a wife behind him that supports him and loves our kids, and our wives do that here, so please give them a big round of applause. Okay, a lot of thank yous right here. First of all, to our school board, Charles Ament, Charles Alderson, Cheyenne Kaiser, Marianne Lieb, Calvin Ford, Linda Maxwell, and Lloyd Hobson. Very, very supportive, and they allow us to do what we do. They support everything that we do, and I know that I look up in a lot of games, and they're there. They're there all the time, watching games, being a part, and recognizing our kids, and so really appreciative of them. Obviously, Dr. Barrett Pollard, our superintendent, extremely supportive in everything that he does for us in athletics, allows us to do what we do. Dr. Scott Harper, Dr. Yancey Sanderson, our assistant superintendents, they also do a lot for us and support us in everything that we do and work with us and allow us to be successful. Our principal, Liz Schoaf, and she couldn't be here tonight, but phenomenal. She supports us. And it supports me, and you know, one of our playoff games, and I know one of the moms in here is in charge of this, we'll talk about it later. One of the playoff games, we were eating breakfast for our team, and our administration, Ms. Schoaf, Mr. Bays, Coach Floyd, Mr. Floyd, I call him Coach Floyd, and our GHS counselors, they all showed up, and they provide breakfast for all of our guys one of the playoff weeks. And so when you have them show up there at 6:30, it just shows how important it is to them, and they support us, and they help us in everything that we do. So I really appreciate them. And then our AD, best AD in the state of Texas, in my opinion, Coach Phillips, his vision for the athletic program and what we're doing as the athletic whole, I think, has been tremendous, especially over the last 4 to 5 years, and the success that we're seeing. That's led by him. The real boss, she's not here right now, but maybe she's watching with Miss D. Moffitt. She sits in the front up there, and she kind of gets all this stuff together. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You know, we feed our kids everywhere we go. We drive real nice. We wear real nice stuff, and I just go hand her receipts, and she handles all that, which is a lot of work. So I appreciate Miss Moffitt for everything she does. Brian Reeder, Tomas Ramirez, and Jack Thompson. They're part of our custodial staff. They travel with us every Friday night. Tomas and Jack especially, they ride with us on the bus every Friday night. As soon as we get there, they get out and they get the gator and they just start putting stuff everywhere. They put the inflatable up. They get all of our electrical cords plugged in, and they're just there to support. And then as soon as the game's over, they start taking stuff down. And so really appreciate them. So please give a big round of applause to all Gatesville ISD, but especially these people. Okay, continued. We would not be able to do what we do without a lot of these people as well. Toby Williams and our maintenance crew. Our building is brand new. It's super nice, and we never have any issues with our field house, but we call him frequently. That was a joke. But we'll work on that. But we call him Toby and his crew frequently. They come, and they, as soon as something's wrong, they show up and they fix it, and they take care of us. They keep us nice and clean. Chris Rainey in the transportation department. And a lot of changing parts, a lot of moving parts, and all the buses and all the transportation we have to take. They do a good job helping us with that. Our faculty at Gatesville High School, very supportive. They know that we have their back, and they have our back as well when it comes to your student athlete, and we make sure that we work together. If we need to do a little reminder for them of how they're acting in the classroom, they know that we support them in that, and then they know that if they ever need to pull them for any academic reasons, we're there for them and support them in that as well. Our trainer who's over here, I don't know where she's at. Coach Navarro, please give her a big round of applause. She deals with all these guys over here. She works a lot of hours, and I've walked in there before, and I think every single table's been full, and we start practice at 6 a.m., so that means that she has to get up there about 5:15. And I know she's going to talk about her girls later, but really appreciate Coach Navarro. Our cheerleaders and cheer sponsor, Miss Coach Colson, I appreciate you and all that y'all do and all the support that y'all give us. Our dazzlers, Miss Helen Gonzalez, she's here as well. Appreciate them. We had the opportunity to have our choir sing a couple times at our games, our national anthem, which I think is really, really neat, that we can walk out there before a game with our choir and they perform like they do. We actually were able to do it at the first playoff game. We were the home team at Rockdale, and so Miss Sharith Wells reached out to me and said, hey, since we're the home team, can we sing the national anthem? And I said, I think that would be awesome. And so she bussed everybody over there. She set up the system. She brought the speakers, and they sang national anthem, which I thought was really cool. And then our band. Our band is extremely supportive of us. And I really appreciate Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Myers, Miss Reynolds, Miss Sanchez, Miss Collins, and Miss Simpson for all the support that they've had. I think that their success and what they're doing on the field and their support of us has helped us. And right now in Gatesville High School, there's a lot of good things going on. So please give those people a round of applause. And I always get weary of doing thank yous because I always feel like I leave somebody out. So if I do, I really apologize when I mean it to. But I try to go through this and look through this and put a lot of eyes on it. But there's a lot of people that help a football program. And you know, you have all your support staff at the school, and you have to have administration that supports you to allow you to be successful, and we have that for sure. But we also have a lot of people from outside in the community that help. Daryl and Deborah McQuarter and everything they do. Dee Moffitt, Robbie Finley, they handle our press box food. So we feed everybody in the press box really well. When we have home games, they take care of all that. Bryce Ballard, I call him and text him. He's in charge of our chain crew. He gets our chain set up for us on Thursdays and Friday nights. Miss Nicole Schockweiler, she's in charge of our touchdown club. Banner, all in printing. I know he's sold right there at our front gate at the beginning of the year, and really appreciate him and his support. Hornet Radio back there live streaming right now. You can't thank them enough for what they do and everywhere they travel. It's actually not even Hornet Radio, it's Hornet Broadcasting. I guess I need to change that because they have multiple teams. There's stuff going on everywhere. When you see their video tonight, I tell him they keep stepping their game up all the time, and they do. But all the fifth quarter shows and all that we do to recognize our athletes, really appreciate them as well. Jason Moore, Max Preps, I've got to meet him a couple of times, but he goes to every game and he keeps up with our stats, and he turns our stats into Max Preps, so really appreciate him. Chris Ullman, who does not like being recognized, but I know all of you have seen the videos, the highlight videos that we put out every week. We normally put those out on Fridays. Chris Ullman, he works on that. Him and his brother, Coach Ullman, they work on that together, and those are unbelievable videos. Everyone I see, I get more and more fired up, and I'll go back, and my son likes to watch them every single night before we put them to bed, so we just pick one and watch one. But really appreciate them and Chris Ullman, all he does. And then our Gatesville ISD Police Department, Gatesville PD, our Fire Department, our Sheriff's Office, very supportive of us. And then, we got to do our send-off a couple of times this year, which is really cool. So, it's awesome to live in Gatesville, Texas. for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is the support that we get from our community. So appreciate the community. Please give them a big round of applause. And listen, some people out here that I don't have time to list everybody's names, but there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, and there's a lot of moms and dads in here that have put a ton of time in, and I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for pouring into our program, trusting in us as coaches, and trying to give our guys the best they possibly can be. There's been times I've walked in our locker room and said, oh, man, look at that. There's been times I walked in our locker room and it's extremely pink, and I was surprised by it, but it all worked out. And I know they spent a ton of time in there on the weekends, all the goodie bags that we had and all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into a football season, and it takes an army. And we have a great army in Gainesville, Texas, and I can't thank you enough for that. Hornet dads that help with the helmet. I know we had to put the big one up. I'm actually taking it this Friday to go get it fixed. We had to put the big Texas up. Everybody asked about that. It's not that we didn't like it anymore. It had about 4 or 5 rips in it. So we got to get that repaired. They're going to cover it. So it's a pretty big thing. So I got to drive that to Dallas and get it fixed. But appreciate the dads helping with that. I can't tell you how much Pastor Moffitt and Pastor Schonkweiler help us. They do a Thursday devotional with our kids. They do a Thursday morning devotional with our coaches. They are extremely supportive. I was texting him about, hey, we keep having to push this back, our award ceremony. He's like, whenever you need our facility, you have it. And so I really appreciate them for opening the doors and all their support they have for us. And then First Baptist Church, they've continued a tradition that we've had. We actually changed up this year. We used to do Feed the Hornets Fridays before home games. But with our 7 o'clock kickoffs, that was getting pretty tough. And so I talked to people at First Baptist to Feed the Hornets, and they said, why don't we just do it on Thursday nights? And so every home game on a Thursday night, one of the playoff games, our guys went up there and they had a team meal at First Baptist Church. So once again, part of our community, really appreciate y'all. Please give yourselves, moms and dads, a big round of applause. Okay, and then some local sponsors here. These are people that help feed the press box and help feed our kids. Studebaker's Jane and Barbecue, the Gainesville Messenger, they do the big poster every year, and all those proceeds go to us, and they give it back to the football program. Miss Carolyn Swindoll's in here. I saw her. I don't know where she's at. Miss Swindoll. Where you at? Yep, right there. She bakes the best cakes in the world, and we get about 3 of them every week, so really appreciate you, Miss Swindoll. Sonic, Taco Bell, the Touchdown Club, we talked at Hornet Radio. Mark and Lucille Necessary, they don't want me to mention their names, but those charter buses are not cheap, and Marky Necessary pitched in and helped with every single round that we took a charter bus. He helped with that. Spur of Gatesville, they donate a ton of money to us. Anytime we need money. The First National Bank of Central Texas and First National Bank have been extremely supportive of us. So once again, part of our community, please give these businesses a round of applause. All right, we had a really good year. Not only on the field, but we had a really, really good year off the field. And I think it correlates. We talk to our guys all the time. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And you can't go out there and play well on a Friday night or Thursday night if you can't go to math class or reading class or English and take that class serious. You got to act the same way all the time. And there's a standard of Hornet football, and these guys help raise that standard. We're going to continue to raise the standard. But we had a ton of kids get academic all-district, and this is anybody that had a 92 or above throughout the whole entire football season. And so this is football players, varsity football players, I should say, and then cheerleaders and dazzlers. So there's quite a bit of them. I'm going to call their names, but I can have Coach Hunter and Coach Aguirre come up. We'll hand out certificates. If you would, kind of form a line, and there's a bunch of you, so I want you all to kind of fit up here. Just kind of form a line, and guys, you kind of stand towards the back and let the ladies kind of get in the front. But if you'll hold your applause until I get done, just so we can get it done. First off, first team academic all-district, Logan Morgan. That's fine. You can applause. That's good. Grayson Egling. Garrett Keaton. Logan Biggs. John Aggie Davidson. Yeah, keep on sliding down. Dutch Nilsson. Amos Phillips. Oh, catch up. Dylan Watts. Big Roman Perez. Jack Irwin. Grady Keaton. Brady Guest. The Kyle Casey. Keep on sliding. Cameron Thompson. Leonardo Leon, a.k.a. Leo. Caden Kaufman. Draven Henderson. Hunter Swindoll. Jarrett Burks. Gabriel Pollard. Mr. Case, he's not here tonight. He's one of our managers. He's dealing with his FFA pigs, I think, in there at Coach Cole, so he couldn't be here. But Case Laster, Dylan Daniels as well. Now going to the ladies, Romy Bomar, Bree Allen, Audrey Blanco, Chloe Carp, Brooke Rivas, Megan Glennon, Bailey Wolf, Sophia Salinas, Adeline Shelton, Lily Kinsey, now the cheerleaders, Addison Taylor, Bradley Ford, Casey Comstock, Aziel Martinez, Katie Hobson, Kinley Mangum, Madison Humbuck, Madison Chauchi, Miss Paisley Wells, and Miss Carrie Dudit. All right. Let me step back. So this is all varsity football only. Obviously, Dazzlers and Cheer all kept a 92 or above average in every class from the time school started until football season ended. So please give them a big round of applause. Some of you don't go far. So we do the academic all district, and that's a 92 or above average just this season. So then we submit, Miss Moffitt submits our GPA, and this is an academic all state. An academic all state takes into consideration all 4 years. So all 4 years of high school, your test scores, your GPA, your class rank. And so this is across the state of Texas. This is not just in Gatesville. So Gatesville all district kind of our own 92 or above. This is across the state. We have somebody here right now, and he's going to be up here a lot, but we had somebody be in the elite category. So there's first team All-State, there's second team All-State, and there's honorable mention. And for the first time since I've been here, we had a football player get in the elite category, and he's elite in everything he does. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Jarrett Burks. I had to look up what all he had to do to get that, and it's really impressive. And so proud of Jarrett. We also had another elite, and that's one of our managers. He's not here tonight, but Dylan Daniels also got elite, so please give him a big round of applause. Now these guys are going to the first team academic all-state. So this is, like I said, across the board, GPA, test scores, all 4 years of high school. First up, Kyle Casey, first team, academic all-state. Dutch Nilsson, first team, academic all-state. Roman Perez, first team, academic all-state. Cameron Thompson, first team, academic all-state. John Davison, second team, academic all-state. Jack Irwin, second team, academic all-state. Gabe Pollard, second team, academic all-state. Hunter Swindoll, second team, academic all-state. Oh, Memphis made it back here tonight. He's running over from the choir concert. Memphis Wells, second team, academic All-State. These guys, honorable mention. Logan Biggs, honorable mention, academic All-State. And Logan Morgan, honorable mention, academic All-State. These are seniors who maintain an average of 92 or above. It also took in their GPA, their class rank, and their test scores. This column last year, I only had one column on my PowerPoint, so I had to add a lot. And so this senior class is very special, but it's like I tell our guys all the time, it's not, you can't only be special on the field, you got to be special off the field. And these guys practice what they preach as they go in the classroom, they handle their business. So please give them a big round of applause. Academic All-State. All right, now we're going to have Miss Coach Helen Gonzalez come up and talk about the GHS Dazzlers.
Okay, everybody, I don't have to do that part. I just introduced very hard over the last year. Dazzlers is a group that starts out. I take a small group of officers to start learning. They have to put in a lot of time. Start that group, they learn. Come back, they'll have to. As soon as we have the 4th of July, I bring the entire group in. After 4th of July weekend, their summers back to work, and they work very hard. From that point, starts days after school, 2 hours, get ready for football season. Together about 9 different routines here. Them dancing something different on Friday nights, so you don't have to watch the same time. They're a hardworking group that is a lot of fun to work with. I like to get them as freshmen, and I did get a few freshmen last year. I don't have a lot of them here tonight, unfortunately. I want to name all of them now. Freshman I had is first-year Dazzler, Adeline Shelton. Lily Kinsey did not make it. Lily Mann did not make it. Lorelei Crozier did not make it. And Sophia Salinas. None of the rest of my freshmen. Everybody's all over the place right now. I've got people singing. I've got 4-H, all kinds of things. Sophomores, we were a young team this year for all but 3 of my Dazzlers. First year, second year only. My sophomores have had 1 year of experience before this year, so we were a very young team. And they worked and did a really good job for us this year with as little experience as we had. Second year Dazzlers I had, sophomores, Bailey Wolf did not make it. Brooke Rivas did not make it. Chloe Corp is here. Chloe actually holds a position called a line sergeant on our team. It's something we kind of set up to try and give the younger girls somebody to go to. If they're not ready to go to me with something, that gives them a lifeline. Everybody could use a lifeline in my group. Her job is to help them make them feel comfortable with what they're doing and be able to get as much help as possible. I also had Faith McDaniel as a second year and Megan Glennon, who is. I have 1 senior who is a second-year Dazzler. I prefer to get them as freshmen, but if I can get them ever, I'm happy to do it. And last year, Audrey Blanco decided to try out for Dazzlers and became a Dazzler for us and did 2 years. And then I had 2 seniors. Bree Allen did not make it. She was our lieutenant. And the 1 Dazzler I have who's done 4 years of Dazzlers, this is her last year. She's a senior but started out as a freshman. Her name is Romy Bomar. And she is our captain. And these are my Dazzlers.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the cheerleaders. And Coach Colson's going to hand out the flowers. I'm going to announce them. I know there's, like she said, a lot of people everywhere, and there's some sickness and some people working. But as I call your name, please come up and we'll applaud Miss, I guess I should start at the bottom. Nope, we'll start at the top. Miss Tiffany Coleman, Captain Senior. Miss Mary Trejo, Co-Captain Senior. We also have Senior Addison Taylor. Senior Aziel Martinez, who's an All-American. Senior Katie Hobson, All-American. Senior Madeline Poliquin. Senior Madison Hambuck, All-American. Senior Shaylee Teague. Got Junior Bradley Ford, All-American. Junior Madison Shouchy. Junior Paisley Wells, 3-time All-American. She may have had to leave. She was here. Yeah, choir. And Junior Vanessa Henson. We had freshman Casey Comstock. Freshman Kinley Mangum, All-American. And freshman Lila Long. And I didn't see Miss Dudick, right? But she's a senior, and she's a 4-time All-American. Buzz the Hornet, so please give Miss Dudick a round of applause. Ladies are very supportive of us, and they work really hard, just like the Dazzlers do. Appreciate all y'all do. What you do does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to have Coach Navarro come up and talk about our student trainers.
I'm Coach Navarro. I'm here to talk about my trainers for the year. I had 5 trainers. I think I have 3 of them here today. One is at choir. She sang at choir last night, and she's helping with the junior high choir tonight. So I only have 3 today, but I want to thank these girls so much. They are here just as early as I am. For those 6 o'clock practices, they're here at 5:45 getting ready on the field for these kids. They're here for morning practices, 5th period practices, after school practices. They help with junior high football games. They help with all the JV games. They travel for those JV games as well. And then they are at every single varsity game, whether we travel or we're here at home. They spend a lot of time, and really they're just getting medical experience out of this. So they are volunteering their time 20, 25 hours a week. So I can't thank these girls enough for all they do. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first one is Olivia Baker. She is a freshman, and I hope to have her for all 4 years. Next is our junior, and this is Annie Silva. It is her first year. Actually, all 3 of my girls, this is their first year. Lastly, here in attendance, we have Lily Salter, and she's a sophomore. The one we do not have here today is Callie Smith. She's a freshman. And those are my girls. I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you guys so much for all your help. And yeah, thank you.
All right, so can't thank them enough. Coach Navarro is exactly right. They're out there all the time. And you know, they spend as much time up there, and they water, ice, everything we need. So, ladies, really appreciate y'all. We wouldn't be doing without you. Thank you so much. Next, I know a lot of these guys aren't here, but I'm going to talk about them real quick. there's a lot of people that make things happen. And if you want to upset some coaches really fast and go through a whole practice and not have any video to show that practice. Because coaches, we take that pretty serious. And we have 4 guys that were there for us all year. They showed up early. They stayed late. They flew drones. They traveled with us to every game. So I want to make sure I honor these guys. And they couldn't be here tonight. They have other obligations, but I want to make sure we mention them and call their name out. We have freshman Case Laster, Mikey Medina, Jamison Vargas, and then Dylan Daniels. Please give them a round of applause. Like I said, I really, really appreciate them and appreciate Coach Cole. He manages all the video and all the stuff that we do, so really appreciate him for that. So, but now we're going to start recognizing our football team. So before we start talking about this team in particular, I just want to talk about our overall season. We went into this year. Everybody saw what happened when the new districts came out. For some of us that have played here and been around Gatesville for a long time, we kind of went back home. We kind of went back to old 17-3, as we like to say. But everybody knew that our work was cut out for us in every regard. It's probably one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas. Nobody predicted us to do anything at any level. And so we knew that we told these guys and we challenged these guys, all 4 teams that we had, that, hey, we got to go to work and we're not going to look at the schedule. We're not going to worry about who's there. We're just going to work on us and continue to keep chipping away. And we'll talk about more of the varsity later, but I want to make sure we recognize all these teams. We had 4 teams again. Which is awesome. I like to say this because it's testament to our coaching staff and our administration. 5 years ago, we had close to almost 80 to 85 kids in our football program. This year, we're well above 135 again, which is a testament, like I said, our coaching staff, our administration, and kind of what we're doing. And so we had to have that 4th JV, that 3rd JV team, the 3rd sub-varsity team. And you look at the record, I'm hoping I steal anybody's thunder, but you see the 0 at the front. But these guys showed up, went to work every day. They worked really hard. They have to play kind of an outlaw schedule because a lot of the teams that we play in our district only have a varsity and a JV. Some of them don't even have a freshman. So we had to find some games. So for us to find 4 games a week is really hard. And I get on the phone, I got to call, got to find teams. So they play Lake Belton. They play some really, really hard schools. And so these guys went to battle, and that one at the very back of the tie was a really, really big win for us in this team. And so I'm going to have Coach Thornton and Coach Allman. They kind of called this team. They're going to come up and talk about them real quick. But if you're part of the JV White football team, please come stand up on the stage as they make their way up.
Well, I would say that the thunder has been stolen. He really had that really sums us up very well across the board. But the thing that doesn't show up there is each week those scores and we lost. But as we lost, those scores got closer and closer and closer and closer. We just needed 3 or 4 more games, and we'd flip that a little bit and get some over in the win column. So. Appreciate you guys. Really do appreciate how hard y'all worked and the improvements that y'all made throughout the course of the year. So right now I would like to recognize our 2 MVPs. Offensive MVP was Zayden Charles, quarterback. And our defensive MVP was Douglas Blank. Thank you, guys.
All right, so now I have our JV Gold football team come up. So if you're part of the JV Gold football team, please come on up. And I have Coach Brumfield and Coach Cole come talk about those guys.
All right, I'll go ahead and start talking while they come up here. As our record said, we went 6-4. This team, and as these groups come into high school, there's obviously a lot of good, and then there's some moments of adversity. So I think the biggest thing for us is just to teach them how to go about things and kind of how to buy into our culture. That way, when they get 3 more years from now, we can be celebrating a lot of wins and gold balls and all kind of stuff. And then obviously trying to instill in them what our mission and our vision really is, and that's just to create great men going into the rest of their lives. So it was a very up and down year. Like I said, a lot of good, and then there were also a lot of very honest talks during some of our film sessions, but I think these guys have grown more than pretty much any of these groups that I've ever had since I've been here. So it was a lot of fun to be a part. Once again, we have an offensive and defensive MVP for this group as well. So for our offensive MVP, it is going to be Mr. Eli Phillips. Which I have right here. Thanks a lot, Coach. And then our defensive MVP is none other than Austin Pickle. Thank you very much.
You didn't see that, Trey. No, I let you saw that. All right, JV Black football team, come on over, stand up. Have Coach Moffitt and Coach Dillon come talk about them.
All right, take a look at these guys right here, because I imagine there'll be quite a few of them up on the varsity next year. You'll be watching them play on Friday nights. It's a really good group. They had a lot of success at 6-2-2. I guess we've had a lot of ties this year, but we were really, really close, honestly, to being 10-0 with this bunch. We had 2 tie games against, I guess, Lorena and Robinson there at the end of the year. We lost to La Vega and we lost to Glen Rose early in the year. We felt like all 4 of them were winnable games that if we just played a little better, coached a little better, we'd probably look a lot better than we did on that record. But we're very competitive all year, and there's some really good football players in here, really young football players. They're going to do a great job for us in the future. The 2 guys that got the MVP awards this year, I think really they could have been flipped even maybe. I think they both played key roles on offense and defense. They were both really good football players. And there were some other guys on the team, I think, that probably could have got these awards just as easily. But we had to pick a couple. Our offensive MVP for the JV Black this year was Mr. Samuel Howard III. Like I said, he's also a very good defensive player for us. Defensive MVP for this group is not very big, don't weigh a lot, not real tall, but he loves to knock the mess out of people. Sometimes you got to pull back on him just a little bit, Mr. George Carmona. Nice job, guys. Y'all can leave now. They're done with you.
All right, future's bright. And I know, like I said, we having those 4 teams is a really big deal. And it takes a lot of planning. And once again, I'm going to keep talking about our coaches because I feel like that's what kind of sets us apart and allows us to be in some of the games and win the games that we have as our coaching staff. But it takes a lot of coordination to practice 4 teams effectively. And, you know, we're not perfect at it. We're not saying we're perfect at it. We're constantly evaluating what we do and how we do it. But we practice all 4 teams. And what you look at as a football program is, are you playing your best football later in the year or early in the year? You want to be playing better later in the year. And all 4 of those teams, I can say, you know, we're about to talk about our varsity, we're playing their best football late in the year. And that's exactly what you want, to be playing your best late. And so kudos to our coaches. And our future's bright, like I said, in Gatesville, Texas. I'm excited for what we've already started doing in our offseason and what we'll continue to do. I'm excited to see some of these guys on the basketball court in the year they're going to have. I'm excited to see our baseball program continue to set records. There's a lot of really good things going on right now, and it's testament to those guys. But the big reason why we're here is these guys right here. I can't tell you enough, you know, how proud I am of them. This group is a special group to me. When I got to Gatesville, Texas, as a defensive coordinator 5 years ago, they were in 8th grade. And I know they were coming off a 7th grade year, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes Dutch and them correct me. So, Dutch, if I say this wrong, I apologize. But I didn't win a game in 7th grade. right? A-team. Thank you, Dutch, for the thumbs up. Went to 8th grade. I don't remember the record in 8th grade, but it's been a constant battle and a constant grind with the senior class as they developed. And there's been a lot of guys that we've challenged with this group to develop. And we're going to recognize some of them tonight, but this group showed up and they showed out. And for this group to come up and start off the year like we did, we go over to Taylor and we have a lot of new pieces, a lot of new faces, a lot of new guys playing football. And some of them were trial by fire, and they were trial by fire by all of us. But nobody in this team turned and pointed fingers at each other. We all kept trucking together as a coaching staff. We kept putting our heads together and saying, okay, what can we do? What can we do? We got to work on this. We got to work on that. We went through a middle stretch there of the season that we were all very frustrated. Our bye week actually fell in the middle of the season this year, which I wish it would have been at the end, because in that middle stretch, we lost a couple of games and everybody was just like, man, our field house was like a depressed zone, because it was like, man, we can't get over the hump. What's going on? We can't win this game. But then we started figuring it out, and we kept fighting, and we kept showing up, and they kept fighting, and they kept trusting us. They kept trusting the process. They kept showing up at 6 a.m. We did that all year long. We had Monday, Tuesday practice at 6 a.m. They kept showing up at 6 a.m. or 5:30. Some of them right at about 5:59, which we'll talk about that. But 6 a.m., and they just kept trusting. And then they kept trusting the process, and never turned on each other. To have some of the memories that we had, when you talk about the Conley game and the game that was, and you talk about having your backs against the wall, 20-something points down in the fourth quarter over at their place in a game that you didn't know if you were in or not. We knew there were scenarios as a coaching staff that, there's some other games that had to go on that if it worked our way, we were in the playoffs. They didn't know that. They were playing for their lives. And for us to come out and battle back and make the plays that we did and then end it the way that we did, especially how we left there last year, just so proud of them. And then, being picked fifth by everybody in the state of Texas in our district, don't have a chance. Gatesville doesn't have a chance. They're back in the, their glory days are done. All the noise that we heard coming into this year, and they just kept fighting. And our coaches just kept fighting. And I started the year saying we're not going to talk about any opponent. And then by the end of the year, we're talking about the opponents because that's just the type kids that these are. They weren't scared of anybody. And then to go into Rockdale and being 2-score underdogs to a really, really good Madisonville team that beat us by 35 points the year before and like 40 points the year or 2 years before that. And to go in there at Rockdale in a playoff game and just completely dominate them into where they are completely turning on themselves. And what I told them before that game is the intangibles, they have them all. If you line their team up versus our team, they're going to look better. They're going to be picked to win. They're going to have it all. But what we have is what you can't see. And that's what they believed in. And they went out there and they played that way. And for us to have that win and then go play a West Columbia team that I've never heard of and the district champion, but for us to go over there, show up, play them, and literally handle that game from Jump Street, I can't tell you how proud I am of them. And then last one didn't go our way, but we played a really good team. But I'm super proud of these guys. I'm super proud of this senior class, and I want to make sure that we recognize them tonight and spend a lot of time on them. So how we're going to recognize you guys, just so y'all know, is we're going to have position groups. So if we call your position group, you're going to come up here, Coach is going to talk about your position group, and then we're going to hand out our MVPs. And then at the end, we'll recognize every senior. So first off, we have defensive. So if you play cornerback, safety in the back end, please come up here and stand up here. Coach Aguirre and Coach Schubert and come talk about this group and then hand out the MVP for the defensive skill position.
No, it's been a heck of a season, a really, really, really fun season. And with the back end especially, Biggs came back from last year, but we had to replace a lot of key parts. And even with Logan coming back, he had to play in a position, transition from corner to safety. Amos put in a lot of reps at Mike Backer, had to go to Hornet and fill some big shoes in Lawson graduating. But we had to replace a lot of snaps from the team before. And what I've been extremely proud of this group is every single year we graduate a ton of seniors that have been just program kids that have, they buy into the weight room, they buy into our philosophy, they work their tails off, and then when that group graduates, you have big shoes to fill, but you understand that because of the process, the kids that are filling those shoes have worked extremely hard to step into that role and to overachieve. And that's been the MO since I've been here. It was a really, really fun group to coach. Across the board defensively, out of the 13 games we played, we held 9 of our opponents below their season average. I'm always trying to find ways to get better as a coach, and I feel our defensive staff does a tremendous job. I'm not just saying this. We have one of the staffs I've been a part of. This is the best defensive staff I've been a part of. And that goes from being at Georgetown, being at Round Rock. We have a lot of guys that know football, that care about the kids, that push the kids, that get to know the kids, and it's a really fun office to be in. And when I was going into the season, knowing all the kids that graduated, I was asked by a lot of people, how do you feel? What do you think about the upcoming season? And I kept telling people the same thing. I'm cautiously optimistic because I know we had some key guys graduate, but the ones that are replacing them are athletic, they're competitive, and they're smart. And with those 3 things, you can do a lot of good things, and they did. We had a freshman step up in a huge way in Grady Keaton. Wes Allman came back. He's a stud basketball player. He's been just killing it there. And then it took some time, but he really acclimated. By the end of the year, he was making big plays for us. And then Logan Biggs consistently was the voice in the secondary, right? And so what you saw was across the board throughout the year, different people making big plays in the secondary. And out of this group, every single one of them either was brand new to varsity or was playing a new position. And so going into it again, cautiously optimistic. I knew that we had something special potentially. I just didn't know how quick they could learn and grow and grow from there. But as voted by their peers, right, extremely special group. They fought their tails off. Big pass breakups, big INTs throughout the year. But as voted by their peers, the secondary MVP with 171 tackles. And there are times on Saturday I asked him, how you feeling? He's like, Coach, I'm pretty beat up. Well, you should be. You had 24 tackles the night before, right? And but our defensive MVP with 171 tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 INTs, and a huge scoop and score against Columbia is Amos Phillips. And then one last thing, guys, especially those that play defense, thank y'all. We try to host the guys over at least once a year, just as a token of gratitude, cook for them. And we won that second round game. And I'm texting my wife Amanda, who's a Saint, with our 2 sons over there. Like, can we do something for these boys? Can we have another cookout? And she said absolutely. So we got a big old brisket, got chicken wings, which is Larry Shorter's favorite. Got ribs, and these kids, y'all have done a tremendous job of raising them. My 2 boys, like every weekend, how many tackles did Amos have? How many yards did Rayshawn have? And for my 2 sons, they love Hornet football. They love seeing your sons play, and they hope to one day be in the exact same shoes that these guys are. But across the board, Amos, Clark, Grady, West, Dylan, Logan, Eli, thank you so much. You played your tails off. You've continued to build a foundation that is going to be here for a long time. Thank you. All right, next up, the defensive box. So linebackers and D-line, Coach Moffitt and Coach Colby heading that out.
All right, so these are the guys that really make everything go. Those skinny guys do a pretty good job. They run a little faster than us, but this is the heart and soul of the team right here. They don't run faster than Dutch, I'm sorry. This is the heart and soul of the defense, in my opinion. Of course, that's because I get to coach some of these guys along with Coach Cole. These are your linebackers. These are your defensive linemen, and these are the tough guys on the team, okay? And the bad news is we're going to be losing some of these guys. We've got a good many seniors that have been playing for us for a long time. We've been coaching these guys through a lot of different sports and a lot of different situations, and they're going to be missed. But the good news is if you look up there, there's some young guys coming up that are really good football players. And I think we're going to be in good shape next year. It's kind of hard to figure out when you look at this group who should be the MVP because there's so many good players up here. Yeah, I got it. I'm on top of that, man. You can't trip me up. Like, there's so many good players up here, so many good football players up here that are coming back. And like I said, all that JV team, there's going to be some young guys, I think, that are going to make some noise next year on this stage. You've even got a freshman. Wave your hand, Draven. You've got a freshman that had to step up this year. Normally, we would not play a freshman, I don't think, on a varsity team unless we had to. But, you know, we got a little thin. We needed somebody, and he stepped up and did a great job. A couple of sophomores here and some juniors coming back next year that are going to be very important. But like I was saying, it's really hard to figure out who the best, the MVP of this group is when you got so many talented guys. And so I'm glad that the kids got to vote on this instead of us having to pick it ourselves. There was two guys that were right there neck and neck in the voting when we counted all the votes up. So we have co-MVPs this year. One of them is a defensive lineman. One of them is a linebacker. Those two guys are Dutch Nielsen. Name is spelled correctly on this, Mom. And Logan Morgan. All right, that's it, guys.
All right, offensive skill guys. Some of you guys will leave. Offensive skill, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, tight ends. Stay up here. I got it right here, Coach. I'm going to talk about this group. This group as a whole, if I just say, got put through the fire and had to morph, it's these guys. Early on, we knew what we had with their offensive line, and obviously Rayshawn coming back. We knew what we had in the run game, but we really challenged them. Hey, we got to get better at throwing the football, and we got to do some things throwing the football wise. And I don't know if you've seen our offense or not. Obviously you have, but the ins and outs of the mastermind that our offensive staff, Coach Hunter, and our offensive staff do of shifting people and formationing people and getting, I think there was one play that we ran versus Sealy where we had 5 guys pulling on one play in order for us to get, numbers in the hole. And so this group got asked to do a lot. And we handed them the ball. We threw them the ball. Gary at quarterback had to learn new stuff all the time. We threw new plays at him, through this, through that. Gary had to lead block. That there's a lot in this group that they had to do that not necessarily stats don't see, but also they put up some big numbers. We had a 2,000-yard rusher in this group. We had a quarterback that threw for over 1,500 yards in this group. We had two receivers that caught over 30 footballs in this group. We had, if you add up all the receiving touchdowns in this group as a whole, you're looking well over 15 to 16 touchdowns in this group. And then you're also looking at different guys carrying the football. We had, obviously, Ray had a lot of the yards. We had Cy who stepped in and had some really big runs for us. He ended up getting injured late. We had, Braden Saunders, who played fullback for us all year and just led block, pounded the pill. And then we threw it to him in the flat a couple of times with some really big plays. And then receivers. We rotated receivers a ton. Receivers got asked to do a lot. They got asked to block. They got asked to motion. They got asked to formation. Learn 1,000 different formations. And this is a really special group. But whenever you talk about voting, this is probably our biggest vote. Obviously, the MVP of this group is somebody that had a very special year. And we can't talk about him enough. What people don't realize, I don't know if he's even told everybody about this or not, but this guy that got voted MVP by his peers, had a hurt knee all year long. He hurt his knee in the second scrimmage that we had on a tackle. And so he basically played all year on a limp knee. And he's having surgery in the next week or two. And you would have never thought it. I know we handed him the ball a ton. We handed him the ball 338 times this year. And I know there was one game, and everybody knows who it is, Ray. There's this one game, what was it, Conley, Coach? How many times did we give it to him? Over 40 times we gave him the ball versus Conley, which is unheard of. When I heard that stat by the news report at the end of the game, I said, "What? Say that one more time." We did what? But you just don't think about it because you see him run and you hand him the ball. But, if you look at what Rayshawn did, and I'm going to talk about him right now because I think it deserves. Rayshawn's been a 3-year starter for us. Rayshawn's rushed for over 1,000 yards 3 years in a row. Rayshawn rushed for 2,172 yards this year, which puts him third all time in a season behind two really good players. He rushed for 29 touchdowns, and his per game average was 165 yards. His career rushing yards as a Fighting Hornet football player was 4,967 yards. And so we hand him the ball a lot, but I'm also talking about Ray because Ray don't get these yards without all these guys up here. So vote on by your peers. Rayshawn Smith, Offensive Skill MVP. All right, next up, the most important group here, offensive line. Let's go.
Tight ends, y'all stay up there, tight ends. Yeah, y'all ain't catch him. I don't know why he told you. Y'all block him. Get up here. Come here, Saunders. Get up here with this group, too. Block two. These guys walk up here, the other style quick. You heard Rayshawn say that doesn't happen without these guys. And these guys are hard to play this position. You know what it takes to play in this position. Mark my words. They do a terrible job. We get let go. We don't know whatever happens. If you don't have a good offensive line in case of Texas, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. So those guys are going to hold up with old machines in front. Just a couple of stat lines. I said, Rayshawn, he is what he is. He's a stud. These guys are blocked for him. These guys led the charge. We were 7th overall in Gatesville history. Points per game. We have 29.7 points per game. That's 7th best in Gatesville history, always from 1912. Like Coach Hunter said, we had 27 yards in rushing. We had 1,600 yards passing for a total of 4,300 yards. So these guys did a very good job of that. Another thing about these guys that is phenomenal to me that you got to think about is they go to practice every day, and unlike the other skill positions, they don't touch a football. So imagine that. Imagine playing a sport called football, and they don't even touch a ball. And then, I go to recess to 6th grade. I don't see any offensive linemen out there. I see a bunch of quarterbacks. I see a bunch of receivers. You don't see offensive line practicing the PE. You don't. And so this is a selfless position that I guarantee you that's preparing these young men to be well-oiled machine adults. And so that's something that often, if you played it, you know what I'm talking about. Because these guys right here are the first ones to get blamed. And I promise you this, they get a lot of vinegar on Monday and Tuesday during that run home. And so they take it, they move on, they're yes sir men, and they go ready to go to work every day. With that being said, there's a lot of guys on here that they're elite academics. You heard that. There's two guys, that Jarrett Burks and Hunter Swindoll, were very elite. Everybody thinks that we run the ball up the middle, but they don't know how we block counter 5 different ways. They don't know how we block buck 7 different ways. They have no clue about you and me calls, who's pulling based on what shade you have. And these guys are dictating it. And that kind of leads me into my MVP. And so the MVP that kept the whole glue together, that we couldn't do without him, and it kind of hurt us in Sealy when this young man got injured. So that kind of gets the cat out of the bag. But this young man got injured, and it kind of crumbled our communication in between the front lines. But as voted on by his peers, our offensive line MVP is Jarrett Burks. And I'll tell you this, man, there's 2 rules that I tell them in the offensive line. I said, number 1, thou shalt not be soft. And number 2, get the freaking job done. Men, you got the job done.
All right, special teams guys, and I want to get all you guys up here. Let's just get all of our kickers. So if you're West, come up here. Leo, kickers. George, you come up here too. You kicked a little bit. Aggie, come on up here. We're going to have Coach Cole, both Coach Coles, come talk about this group, but I really want to recognize these kickers.
Hey, I want to start by recognizing Coach Hunter. A lot of people know him as the head coach, but he is a big part of our success on special teams. He's a great special teams coach, and I got to thank him for that. I also got to thank Chase Cole here. Everybody thinks they can kick, but it's really hard to kick a football, and he's been a big asset to us because he works with our kickers constantly. They improved all year long, and I think down the road we're going to be better in that position. So I want to appreciate y'all for that. So this year's special teams was a lot of fun to coach. Our kids are starting to buy into the idea of what Coach Hunter's selling is being uncommon, and that's what it takes to play special teams because in most schools you have special teams units. You have enough to do that. At a place like Gatesville, 4A and below, you got to rely on everybody, and some guys are playing every snap of the night. So it takes a very uncommon player, and that's what our kids are buying into. And probably the funnest game I've ever been a part of, Conley this year. I high-stepped it down the sideline at the end of that game, but special teams played a huge role in that game. We had two big returns, Clark Allman and then Grady Keaton really kept us in that game, and then everybody remembers the end of that game, the block to seal it by Plater, I'm sorry. But that was huge, and I think that gave us momentum into the playoffs, and I think that's what a team like Gatesville has to do. We got to win in all three aspects of the game. This year's special teams MVP could have been multiple people. I thought Grady Keaton had an awesome year. He had 2 onside recoveries. He also had some big returns. West was big coming over, being a leg for us. But this year's MVP is going to be Hector Silva. I'm not done yet. I'm sorry. That's Hector Silva. He's an awesome kid. He's a 1-year player for us. I wish we could have had him longer. But he's a great kid. He's unselfish. He really just wanted to find a way to help us win. And he worked on all kinds of stuff. He was awesome at pooching and pinning him on the sideline. He was probably the best onside kicker we've ever had. And he even had that watermelon kick that we almost got against Madisonville. It's Madisonville. So awesome kid, team player. Very proud of him. Thank you.
I'm keeping that one. You get to keep running. All right, and like Coach Cole said, I got to second that. I do. I kind of like the mad scientists who come special teams, and so we do all kind of pump fakes all week, and like if you look at that Madisonville game, and it's just I send the punt team out there, and then we look at what they're at, and we just call it. And for like West to execute that, to Egling like we did, and then Coach Chase Cole showed me one time. He goes, "Hey, you got to look at this." And so Hector was over there practicing. He literally did put the ball on the ground and watermelon kick it, and it would spin, and it would go just 10 yards. And we did it versus Madisonville. We didn't get it, but it went 9.5 yards. But then we executed the good onside kick that Colt Heath got. But it's just testament to our guys, like Coach Cole said. They take special teams serious, and it really did win us some games this year. And so I really appreciate y'all for doing that. Now we're going to go into some more of our prestigious awards. And these are also voted on by their peers, all but one. But these are guys that you put out a deal site, vote for the best leader, and I'm gonna let Coach Aguirre come talk about this guy and kind of what he stands for. But there's no question when you talk about leadership that this is the guy that I would have picked. But I'm not gonna steal your thunder, Coach Aguirre. Come on up.
As the season progresses, I think it's really important as a coach to be able to lean on players to ask them the question, right? And when you ask tough questions, you get honest answers from key players. And this was a young man that we had several conversations, and I would ask him the questions. Like, don't tell me what you think a coach wants to hear. I want to hear your opinion because I respect who you are as a player, how you play the game, how you practice, and how you approach this game. He's a tremendous leader. I think for the guys that play JV and freshmen, he's a kid that you should model your game after. How he works in the weight room. How he plays numerous sports, how he runs, how he approaches everything. But this kid competed his butt off in every single facet of the game, whether it's special teams, whether it's offense or defense. In fact, he's the only person in this world that I've ever said gig him to. But your leadership award, after a huge catch and after just 4 years of working his butt off and being a tremendous young man. Your leadership for this year goes to Dutch Nielsen. And again, I'm sorry, Coach. For Dutch, just the really his voice began to grow last offseason during boot camp. The way he pushed the people around him, the way he made and demanded that not just himself but everyone step up their game. It's because of people like that and heart like that we were able to beat teams that we shouldn't have beat. So, Dutch, thank you again, bud.
I second that. The only negative thing about Dutch, he's an Aggie. Negative. So we'll move on. All right, highest GPA, helmet award. This was kind of started before we got here, but I thought it was really cool to continue to keep it going. What we do here is we take literally the highest GPA, and you probably know who this is going to go to. So Jared, you start walking up here. But I mean, it was hands down. This kid is exactly what we talk about when you talk about doing everything uncommon. And I'm glad Coach Cole kind of brought that up because I meant to kind of bring it up in the front. But that's kind of the challenge this year is I kind of take Christmas break and ponder and pray about things and see what God wants what God wants for this football program. And what he laid on my heart this year was uncommon. Be uncommon in everything that we do because we live in a world full of common people just doing things just to survive. Wake up every day, what's next, go home, go to sleep, and then be done. And just look forward to that. And I challenge our guys all year, be uncommon. Be uncommon in everything you do. Be uncommon, don't go on autopilot. Be intentional in everything you do. Use the gifts God gave you specifically because we're all made unique to benefit people around you every single day in everything you do. And then be all about the family. And these guys did that, but when you talk about being uncommon, Jared Burks is uncommon. And everything that he did. I think he's one of the only people in the state of Texas that the running back weighs more than the center. That's a true story. I think Ray at one point, I think not now Ray you down, but Ray weighed more than him. But Jared went there and fought. But like Coach Hunter said, he called everything, every single play. He let everybody know where they're going, and it's a testament to him what he's done in the classroom, on the football field. And he's also an Aggie, so that's the only negative thing about him. But I love Jared Burks. I love everything he does. So your helmet award, Jared Burks. Oh. Sorry, Jack. Just sit there act like you didn't hear it. Just sit down. All right, have Coach Brumfield come up. This is a special award to me, and this is one that's not voted on. This is one that coaches vote on, and we talk about. But and Coach Brumfield really want to talk about this one. I'm gonna let him. But it's a really special award to get, and it couldn't go to a better kid. So, Coach Brumfield.
Yeah, so I specifically asked to present this award to this particular person. You have no idea who it is yet. This guy, him and I have been through a lot. I obviously get the extreme honor of being able to coach him. This award basically goes to someone who epitomizes what it means to be a Gatesville High School football player. The culture that we preach every single day is modeled by this person. I truly believe that. And it's someone that works their tail off and finally gets to see the fruits of their labor. And I think he saw that a lot this year. He has in the past. There's just been some unfortunate things that have gone on in his story as far as injuries. And there may or may not allegedly have been an instance where Coach Brumfield may have thrown his hat and his whistle and his shoes and his socks and everything that he owned at that point. But ever since then, we've been on really great terms, and I've never gotten in trouble for that at all. But yes, this person who you still do not know up to this point completely embodies what it means when we talk about what our culture is and what it continues to be in the future. And I will gladly tell his story for a long time to come. And the Heart Award goes to Jack Irwin.
Sorry. Awesome. We'll take pictures too at the end, Jack. Don't worry. All right. But it did, and I just did echo what Coach Brumfield said, but a kid that literally at the end of last year just went to work and just literally willed himself to where he's catching balls that I'm like, who just caught that? And they're like, it's Jack. Just throw in his vicinity towards the end of the year, and that's just because he ran every route, practiced every day. And he's also this. So team captains, you 9 guys going to come up here. I want to talk about you guys. Oh, all of you. These guys are a special group to me, and I, one of the things I like to do when I took over as the head football coach is I wanted, everybody always voted us captains. Everybody always said, hey, we're going to elect captains. Everybody has captains, but I wanted these guys to be special. And this is the 3rd group now that's come through here. I've never had this many, but when you look at what they did and what they embodied, and I challenged them because I said, you now have the hardest job because. The captains in the past, you could see the big strides that we made as a football program. And you could see the success. You could see, getting in and not only getting in the playoffs, but winning a playoff game. And I said, well, now that's already been done. And now you just got thrown in one of the toughest districts in the state of Texas. And we've got to go to work. And you guys are who we're going to lean on. And so when you look at this group of guys, they really took that wholeheartedly and embodied exactly what I wanted them to do. And it hasn't always been easy. And I'm going to go down the list here. Amos coming over as a junior, started as a sophomore. Unbelievable in the middle of the field. Cam Hendricks, the guy that we challenged going into this year, played JV football last year, stepped up and probably grew more in the leadership aspect than anybody up here. Garrett Keaton, a kid that works extremely hard at everything he does. And there's times that I've drove by this summer and there's a little red truck sitting at the field house and he's up there grinding all by himself, just trying to better himself and better those around him. And you talk about a kid that got put through the fire sometimes this year, but his shoulders stood tall and he stood firm in his foundation and who God made him to be. And he stood up and made a name for himself this year and gained a lot of respect. Logan Biggs, the guy that was a captain last year and had a lot of pressure on him coming in this year, new position, knew this, knew that, and got challenged some and got challenged and to grow up some. And embraced that challenge and grew up. Jack Irwin, we talked about. As soon as last year's football season was done, just took charge, took the role, and said, I'm going to run with it. And he did that. Easton Johnson, I could spend 6 hours talking about Easton Johnson and everything he does. A kid that may have played 4 or 5 plays all year, but you would have never noticed that how his energy and the things he did on our sideline, in our locker room, in our weight room, everywhere he does, Easton Johnson embodies what it means to be a fighting Hornet. And that's hard to do, especially when your name's not in the paper, your name's not in the tackle chart, but to show up every day and drive our culture. Easton, I appreciate you. We've already talked about Jared a ton. We've talked about Dutch a ton. And going on to Logan Morgan, another one that just literally bought into what we talked about and who we are. And I can't thank these guys enough. You guys took a really hard step. And I know it's our football team, but when I look at I told you what we're building is something special, and you guys took a hard step, and you 9 drove that step. And for that, I appreciate you, and I thank you. And to the juniors in this group, we got some big shoes to fill. But you're 2024 team captains. There you go. There you go. Hey. Look, I work on this all day. All right, now I'm going to have the Hornet Broadcasting come up and show this video. It's a pretty cool video right here, but I'm going to let Lee and Adam come up and talk about their Hornet Radio Play Call of the Year.
All right, thanks, Coach, and thank you to all of you folks out there. We wouldn't be doing what we do every week if it wasn't for you guys watching, and a special thanks to the team because they give us a lot of content to talk about and show the folks at home. And Adam can tell you this is one of the biggest viewing seasons that we've ever had, and it was really exciting, especially at the end of the year. You guys really turned it up a notch, so we appreciate that. Me and Adam, throughout the year, every football game we went back and reviewed all of the footage, all the plays that were made, and
not every game, I slept.
But a lot of the plays that you're about to see were our favorite plays throughout the year, and we consider them for our play call of the year. And Coach, if you want to go ahead and show them the video.
Number 10, Amos Phillips, he's down the sideline. He chases. 0 Washington. There he goes. Takes off number 0 and number 11 for the number 11 for the season. I'll buy this young man dinner if he can miss this kick. Pressure on the left side of the line. They got the ball. Get it, ball! Get it, ball! I'm telling you, you can hear this crowd. Go out on your front porch and get to hear what's going on. I agree with that right there. Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody can start breathing again. Yes. This team deserves to celebrate tonight. He's past the line, past the 10-yard. Breaking arm tackles. You're not going to get him that way, gentlemen. Ball hit to the end zone. I've got one to bring him here. Touchdown. And I'll look back. And they're no longer on the field. That's going to be. Oh, what a grab. What a grab there on the flea flicker play. And it's a first down. What did I say, Joker? Under pressure. He's just going to get this one. Look at that. 20. By the way, he's got a brain grass in front of him. No longer on the field. Number 3. He ran that all the way. He ran that all the way. Great undercut route. Great job. Okay, here we go, folks. Fourth down play. Quarterback's got the backfield. Who's going?
folks jockeying for the dibs this week, Adam.
There was a lot of great videos there, but whenever we thought about it really hard, it came down to that play right there really changing the course of the Hornets going into the playoffs. So congratulations, Xavier.
If you've tuned into any of the broadcasts, you've probably heard me cheer this man's on all season. He's been phenomenal. I've loved watching him on the D-line from a former defensive line. Not the speed man like he has, but he's just done a great job. So once again, thanks for giving us plenty of content this year. Good job.
Good job, Xavier.
All right. So now what we're going to do real quick, we put together a little highlight video once again by Mr. Chris Allman. I'm going to show that, and then we're going to recognize our seniors. So this is not over after this. I know I'm sorry we're pushing it back, but I want to make sure to recognize the senior class. We're going to call them up here and take a picture of them. But quickly, we're going to watch this highlight video done by, like I said, Mr. Chris Allman.
Yeah.
All right, now to my favorite part of this whole thing. Really, while we're here, I'm going to call these guys up here. Get my clicker to work. Maybe. Oh. Too many clicks. There we go. All right. I'm going to call these seniors up here. I'm talking about as a group as they come, so please applaud them as they go. Number 1, Logan Morgan. He's a 2-year letterman, track and powerlifting, plans to attend Blinn College. Number 3, Daniel Gonzalez. Played wide receiver safety, 2-year football letterman, track, plans to also attend Blinn. Number 5, Logan Biggs, 3-year football letterman, 3-sport athlete, baseball, basketball, track, plans to also attend Blinn. Cameron Hendricks, linebacker, fullback, 2-year letterman, track and soccer, plans to attend TSTC. John Aggie Davidson, outside linebacker, punter, 2-year football letterman, big part of our band program, plans to attend Texas A&M. Number 9, Dutch Nelson, 2-year football letterman, track and powerlifting, also plans to attend A&M. Number 11, Rayshawn Smith, 3-year letterman, track and basketball, still working on it, plans to play college football somewhere. Number 12, Eli Charbonneau, 2-year football letterman. I put fishing on here because you know anything about Eli. He likes to go fishing. But he plans to attend HVAC school. Number 14, West Allman, 1-year letterman. Like I said, we got him back for 1 year. Been dominating on the basketball court, in the track. He plans on playing basketball in college. Number 16, Big Rome Perez, 1-year football letterman, basketball, baseball guy, plans to attend SFA and be a pilot. Memphis ever make it? He did. Memphis Wells, 2-year football letterman, track. I know music's a big part. I put that picture down there at the bottom for our homecoming deal. You know, Memphis kind of got out there on the back of a trailer and sang. Very, very talented. So, plans to attend South Plains College, Memphis Wells. Number 19, Jack Irwood, 2-year letterman, also runs track, plans to attend A&M. Number 22, Xavier Clater, outside linebacker, running back, 2-year football letterman, competing in wrestling, plans to attend Texas State. Number 29, the Kyle Casey. Once again, Kyle came back to us this year. He didn't play last year, but came back to us this year. Basketball and track, plans to attend MCC. Number 30, Braden Saunders, fullback, defensive tackle, 2-year football letterman, competing in powerlifting, plans to start working with his dad after he graduates. 32, Braden Mills, 1-year football letterman. Braden's one that came back to us this year. We kept looking at him powerlifting every morning, and I'd be like, dude, what are you doing not playing football? So glad to get him back this year. He plans to attend Tarleton. Number 34, Cameron Thompson. I think he made it tonight. He's a 1-year football letterman, stud in cross country and track, plans to attend A&M. Easton Johnson, 2-year football letterman, big part of the band program, plans to attend Angelo State University. Number 50, Chase Glenn, I don't think he made it tonight as well. Defensive end, 2-year football letterman, 2-year football letterman, plans to attend a trade school. 54, Josh Morris, 2-year football letterman, plans to join the Marines. Number 60, Logan Turner, a.k.a. Bullfrog, 2-year football letterman, powerlifting, plans to attend TSTC. Number 67, Hunter Swindoll, 2-year football letterman, powerlifting and track, plans to attend Angelo State University. 71, Jared Burks, O-line, 2-year football letterman, powerlifting and track, plans to attend A&M. Number 72, Gabe Pollard, 3-year football letterman, powerlifting and track. Gabe plans to attend UMHB. Number 74, T. Rich, Tyler Richardson, 2-year football letterman, powerlifting and track, plans to attend TSTC. Number 79, man, myth, the legend, Trent Hickman, 2-year football letterman, competing in band and culinary, plans to attend Tarleton State University. And number 99, Hector Silva, came to us this year, 1-year football letterman, soccer, plans to start going to the workforce right after high school. I'm going to keep these guys up here and we'll talk about them, okay? 28 of these guys. And what you see a lot of these guys is, obviously a lot of them played. Where you going, JJ? Okay. Let's see. You're going A&M, but stay up here for just a second. But really, really proud of these guys. Their legacy is set. I told you, 6th best record in Gainesville football history. For the first time in Gainesville football history, made the playoffs 5 years in a row. For the first time in 25 years, we won back-to-back first-round playoff games. And this is a group that went 0 in 7th grade. So I want you to think about that. Think about their hard work. 28 of these guys, they're going to be hard to replace. When you're in this profession, you get into it because you're competitive, but you really get into it because you get to impact these kids. But when I tell you every single year, these kids impact us. This group has impacted me. They believed in us. They believed in our coaching staff. They bought into what we asked them to do. They didn't fold on us. They stayed together. They're a very tight-knit group. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you for what you've done. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. So at this time, the one and only Jared Burks. Come on up here.
All right. Good evening. My name is Jared Burks. Like he said, I'm going to get started. I want to thank coaches first and foremost. I know he talked about it a lot, but they do put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and they put us in the best position possible for us to go and succeed on the football field and in life. So we really appreciate that. And then moving on, I want to thank all the parents. I mean, mine are pretty good, but everyone else is pretty good too. I appreciate all the parents taking us to Little League practices, doing all that, taking us everywhere, supporting us everywhere we go. Thank y'all so much. And then lastly, I want to thank my teammates, all the relationships I have built through this year and years playing Little League with all y'all. It's been really good, and I will cherish these relationships everywhere I go. And thank y'all.
Christmas gift. Don't break it. You want me to open it? Thank you, guys. Special group, and we're going to end with this. This is the last thing. So parents, come get a picture of these seniors. All you guys come stand up here in the front. All football players come stand up here. Hurry. Y'all face them. But, it means something to be from Gainesville, Texas. I'm from here, and I'm proud to be from here, and I'm proud of this football program. I'm proud of what we're doing. But we sing the school song a lot, and I challenge these guys to learn the words. And so seniors, for the last time, please lead us in the school song. Thank you. That concludes the ceremony. If you got a plaque, please come up here. Besides that, you're free to go. Thank you so much.